Anthony Gordon. Geordie Journos here at Goodison Park for potentially, hopefully, the last time.
Straight in there.
Yeah, no, why not?
Yeah.
We never enjoy our visits
We
here.
don't.
But
We
to
really
be fair,
don't.
the Everton fans were great, the Newcastle fans were great. The game itself, 0-0, but plenty to talk about, Jordan, and plenty to discuss after that. Newcastle, I thought, one of the certainly the best away performance this season, just lacking
Best away performance in a long time.
probably since Burnley back in the last season. Newcastle were generally really quite good, except in the final third.
Yeah, exactly that. That's the biggest frustration from the day. Is it was a much more balanced performance, and that's one thing I'll come on to. But the lack of quality in the final third sort of showed it was Everton were there for the taking, and that's the biggest frustration. Is Newcastle probably should have, or definitely should have won that game. They had a lot of chances, a lot of good performers out there who were driving Newcastle United forward, but they just couldn't quite find that goal, which is the biggest frustration of the day. You guys watching home feel the same. I see it was one of them where it felt like it was for the taking and they couldn't quite get the result over the line. But positive about the performance, as I just said there, it's Newcastle United's best away performance for a good while, and that's the one positive I would take from today, is they've actually played well away from St James's Park, and there's not many times we've been able to say that. You just said there about Burnley being the last good performance, but take away Burnley, you can probably say Brentford as well, because they won there.
But they were never in control of that game in the way they were here, even though they went 3-0 up. Actually.
I felt it was total control from start to finish. Really, there was times when Everton put Newcastle under pressure, but I thought in the main it was Newcastle United's best performance away from home in a while. Maybe not. I don't know. Is it? This sounds ridiculous. Is it Newcastle United's best performance of the season, but not result? Because you think about spells in games, Man City last week would probably take the sort of the crown for that. But we've came on these videos every game this season and going, well, Newcastle they were terrible then, or they were only good for a 20-minute patch. That I would say that was probably 80 minutes of Newcastle in control.
Football's about putting the ball in the net.
It is, and that's why I say about the performance overall. I was really enthused by what I seen from the team overall. I thought there was a balance there. Just said to you there, that's the best midfield I've seen in terms of the balance for a long time as well. Because that was after Fulham, that was the main problem we highlighted, was the gap between the midfield and defence. And I thought the three of them today were excellent. I thought Newcastle won the midfield battle. It was half the reason why they were so dominant, as I say. Bruno, I thought back to his best in terms of bringing that calmness to the ball, intelligent to win fouls. Joe Linton, Eddie Howe described him as a destroyer in his pre-match press comments. He was that today, but he was striving Newcastle United forward. And Tonali was very, very good as well.
I was really impressed with Tonali, and then he just gave that ball away just before
it was
he
just
came on,
before
and
he
then
came off.
It resulted in Everton getting a penalty shout, Nick Pope having to make a good save to deny Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So that just took the sheen off what I thought was a very encouraging performance from Sandro Tonali, and that was the first time this season. A lot of talk about Newcastle away from home is nowadays when they come away from home they look like an away team, which was something they never really previously looked like under Eddie Howe. Certainly when they came fourth, they'd come here, win 4-1 as it turned out. But last season and at the start of this season, when they've been away from home, they've looked like an away team. They've lacked that control, lacked that confidence, and had to rely on moments of quality for them to get something from games. Today, they needed that moment of quality. It didn't happen, but they were in control. They didn't look like an away team today. If Newcastle put that performance in at St James's Park, you're frustrated, as we are now, because haven't come away with a win, but definitely looked a lot more solid. And other than that sort of half-arse penalty shout, I don't think Newcastle were ever in any serious danger of losing that game.
Yeah, Everton had the offside, which was tight, but Decore was offside. But as I say, for most parts of that game, Newcastle were in control, and he was just waiting for Newcastle to put the ball in the net. But probably the night in terms of frustrations in front of goal was summed up by Anthony Gordon, who is look, anyone can miss penalties, and I actually said to Will Rooney, our colleague at Liverpool World, I said, he doesn't score this. I said to him, he doesn't score this. I just had that feeling, and I know like hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he didn't score, and I wasn't totally surprised. And then you asked the question, and there was a lot of people asking the same question: was it right for Anthony Gordon to take that penalty? Look, it's all if, buts and maybes, because he scored the penalty last week.
Exactly.
And he would have wanted to take it. He would have loved to have scored here on his final sort of appearance.
Yeah.
Give a bit back to the Everton fans after all the boos, etc. We've got the light tripod today because we couldn't carry the heavy one in the stadium.
Yes, it's important. We have a new tripod, which is great. The size of the press box at Everton is not conducive to lugging around a lot of things. So I made the executive decision to bring the light little one-leg tripod that fits in my bag. So sorry about that, but
you'll see what see what we mean.
I'll show Jordan's struggles and my struggles as well, trying to just get in the press box, and bearing in mind it was packed as well. So we won't miss that press box, and we joked that the new stadium might do a tribute and just keep a similar layout press box, which we hope isn't the case.
Should we put the clip over now so then people can realise?
Yeah.
So this is me trying to get in the press box. Please don't wait, Shane.
The lights are going up now, but Anthony Gordon. At least at least you're prepared with the light.
Let's finish. Let's do it like this. Let's do it in the dark.
Why not? Why not? But on Anthony Gordon had a match to forget in many ways. Obviously missed the penalty, missed a good chance behind us towards the end of the game, blazed it over the bar. But I thought, like Newcastle, in all aspects of his play except in the final third, I thought he was very good. He kept going, he showed that endeavour. He had, I saw some people on Twitter hitting out, or X, that he's had a shocker, which in many ways, you're looking at the actual
it's a bit of a nightmare
moments,
for him to come on
I don't necessarily disagree that he's had a shocker, but I also think there was a lot to like about his performance, and Eddie Howe was keen to really show that support and praise for Anthony Gordon. But on the same side of things, Newcastle did miss that cutting edge that they need, and that they may have had a Callum Wilson or Alexander Isak been on the pitch.
You wonder if they were on the pitch today, it would have been a different result. But I think you've probably got to give Anthony Gordon credit for the way he led the line, because he's led the line differently when Isak and Gordon, Isak and Wilson, sorry. Whereas he's made runs, he came sort of short for the ball, he's dropped it in the wide areas. You get that bit from Isak. Isak's the best striker at the football club by a mile, probably one of the best strikers or definitely one of the best strikers in the world. But I think it's probably credit to Anthony Gordon as the way he's performed as a central striker. I know they probably felt the absence of a central striker today, but in terms of in terms of the control of matches, Anthony Gordon's done a very, very good job in my opinion. And I actually think I think he reacted really well to missing the penalty. People might disagree, but as I say, I thought he kept his head high. He's still looked keen to get on the ball and press. Won numerous fouls. To say made runs to bring his other teammates into play. It just wasn't to be in front of goal.
Yeah.
That penalty miss, and then as you mentioned there, the end, that's now in the dark when he went through on goal at a sort of a tight angle, but a decent angle to get a really good shot at Jordan Pickford, and he's blazed over the crossbar. So look, it happens. You miss penalties. It's just a shame that for him it was against his former club, because as I say, you would have loved to have scored here tonight.
Yeah. On the penalties, do you think the correct decisions were made?
Yes. At first I thought, I think the Tonali on Tarkowski.
I didn't even notice it.
Tarkowski on Tonali was an absolute stonewall.
Yep.
Absolutely ludicrous stuff by the Everton defender there. Why he's pulling it Tonali like that was beyond me. So,
I didn't even notice, and then when the referee pulls it back and goes to VAR and you see the replays, I'm like, what's he doing?
It honestly, if I was Sondheim,
Crazy.
I would have been livid. But then obviously Jordan Pickford bails his teammate out by saving the penalty, and then at first glance, I thought Dan Burn had brought down Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and then I seen it a second time. I thought, yep, definite penalty, and then showed you from a different angle when it actually looks like Dominic Calvert-Lewin's kicked Dan Burn's leg. So yeah, right decision. I think if it's
Eddie Howe thought Dan Burn stood his ground. Sean Dyche was a bit more vague about it.
It's probably one of them where if it's given, it probably doesn't get overturned. But I do think it was quite clear that Calvert-Lewin kicked the leg of Dan Burn, who I'm talking about the midfield. I thought he was a standout in the back four.
He was good. He won everything in the air, which is...
He had a few nervy moments with the ball at his feet when there was a few balls came over the top. It was first 15 minutes when Calvert-Lewin cut inside of him, but Early was absolutely dominant.
Yeah, which is possibly a slight criticism of Dan Burn sometimes, because I think because of his height, he doesn't always use it effectively, but I thought he did that today.
Yeah, so special mention to him. So yeah, the two penalties I thought were correct calls. What do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I was maybe a little bit swayed subconsciously by the numerous Everton fans almost swan-necking into the press box, looking at our monitors, being like, I'm not going to do a Scouse accent, but you know,
you can try.
It's got to be a penalty. That's a definite penalty.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm looking and I'm like, is it though? Yeah. Is it? I mean, if Newcastle, if the referee points to the spot, I'm probably not really arguing. I know Anthony Gordon won a couple against West Ham, a bit like that last year, where he's got in people's way and he's got the penalties like that. So, yeah, there's a case, but if the referee's not giving it, VAR, as it is this season, is not going to overturn it unless it's a clear and obvious error. And the explanation from the Premier League was that, what you said, Dominic Calvert-Lewin kicked Dan Burn. So,
I mean, the Premier League like that.
Yes, you know.
But no, I'm actually really upbeat about it. I know that I'm frustrated about the result because I think Newcastle should have won.
I think some people will be coming on these videos, coming on social media and be kicking off.
Yeah, well, I think if you probably look at the reaction on social media, that there probably is a bit of that. And I don't disagree with that. I do think Newcastle should have won that game today and they should have put Everton to bed.
That's the thing. It's 2 points dropped in him.
But it's getting everything right in the main, and they didn't get the goal today, but they hadn't got everything right in the main for a lot of the season, a lot of points this year. And there was one of them. As I say, I actually think, and it's controversial, I think, and not the result, but I think that was Newcastle's best performance in terms of I think control.
We can be encouraged that after Fulham, which was a disaster, they've put in two quite controlling performances against Man City and away.
That's the thing. They were never really a threat against Manchester City. Well, you never really felt Manchester City were going to score. But the last minute.
No, it's the most comfortable Newcastle have ever looked against Manchester City, and this, although it was 0-0, was as comfortable as Newcastle have looked away at Everton in a while. I mean, they've won 4-1, obviously, that game where they were largely dominant, but I'm trying to polish a 0-0 draw here, but
I'm just trying to be positive because I've came on and here I've been very critical for them not performing well.
We've called out the midfield as not being fit for purpose at times, but I thought that midfield, which I think is Newcastle's strongest midfield, showed that they can play together, they can control games and dominate. And I think, Bruno should have scored. It's unlucky for him.
Yeah, he had a really good chance as well, actually.
Off the line. Joe Linton, I think, when he was moving out on the left wing, was a real threat. He showed a real good turn of pace.
The Willock and Joe Linton partnership, it was, yeah. I mean, we didn't see it in its full glory. I don't think Joe Willock, as much as he brought energy and sort of legs in the midfield, as he always does, wasn't, like a lot of his teammates, wasn't too decisive in the final third, shall we say. But games like that suit him when the game's sort of open. Because that's what it was. It was an open game as well at times when it was. I would say it was end to end. I don't think Everton were necessarily. Yeah, but there was the space opened up, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And Joe Willock, when space opens up, is a good footballer in terms of bringing him on when he has space to run into. When it's tight situations, he really struggles, I think. So I think it was a good game for him to come into.
I thought Miggy was alright again, coming off the bench. I mean, he was wasteful in front of goal that time where he just absolutely.
It was a really tame sort of off-target shot, wasn't it?
I don't know what he completely got it. He got it completely wrong. But I thought again, he's finding those pockets. He's slipping players through. He played a good ball through. Was it him who slipped in Anthony Gordon?
I don't know.
Well, I thought Miggy came on and did a job. He did well, and I thought Sean Longstaff was fine as well.
He came
Tino
on for
as well, brought something down the right.
The only thing I would criticise Tino about is you're coming up against a 39-year-old Ashley Young.
Get at him.
In the final 10 minutes, just run at them. But he never ran at them. He kept coming inside looking for the pass. But I think today you've probably seen them pockets. I think the three of Murphy, Trippier and Tonali, when we've seen that sort of link up Bruno, Trippier and Almiron that Champions League season, I thought there was a bit of that today. So as I say, I'm really encouraged. Frustrated because I think Newcastle should have won, but we've came on here, criticised performances after they've won. So let's praise a performance where they didn't quite get the result, but they've almost, as I say, shown signs of some positivity at the start to get back to.
It's about building on this, and they should have won today, but
they should have. To be fair, Everton didn't look a good side. I know I was speaking to Will Rooney at Liverpool World. They had a lot of injuries today as well.
There's some key players.
Bramthwaite was out. Mikalenko, the fullback, was out. They had a centre mid at right back today in James Garner. So I suppose you want to look at that way. Then they should have won, but I'm going to praise
you can't win them all.
Yeah, I'm going to praise a positive performance because I've criticised wins. So and I thought they played all right today.
Yeah, they did well, but we're obviously missing a key member of the Geordie Journos who's away in Greece, Liam Kennedy. So he may well say, we don't know exactly what he said.
He could totally kill us.
Yeah, he might go, disgrace, disgusting, or he might say it's positive, so we don't know. But here is Liam Kennedy from somewhere in Greece, probably looking good with his tan, enjoying a few cocktails. So here are his thoughts about this game that he would have watched from some dodgy stream from Greece.
Hello lads and everybody watching the Geordie Journos from here, Greg Limano, Club Med in Greece. Thought I'd send my thoughts. Haven't looked at social media, have just watched the full match. Hopefully you can you hear the Aegean Sea lapping up right next to my room here? Not to rub it in too much lads, given that you guys are at Goodison Park, as we all know, the best away trip in the Premier League. So sad to see it go, I'm sure. I'll step in just in case you can't hear us too well. So my thoughts on that one, like I say, I haven't read anything on social media, so I don't know what you guys and fans are saying, or any of the pundits or any journalists there at Goodison Park. But my thoughts on it was a reasonably controlled performance. Newcastle United absolutely dominated that first half. Did they not really look like scoring? Obviously, they probably should have been 2-0 up, really. Really fortunate clearance, fortunate or very clever clearance from a Bruno shot, and of course the Gordon penalty. I mean, did we really fancy him? I'm not sure. He seems to be painting himself as a bit of a mentality monster in recent times, and he did take a long time over it, but it did just feel it was one of those. He's not really performing there. He was all right apart from that. I don't think he had a bad game. But Newcastle dominated. It was that first half in particular was probably the most dominant in terms of possession that I've known Newcastle United have away from home. Everton couldn't get the ball. They couldn't influence the game at all. Of course, it was never going to be that way in the second half. They did come into the game in the second half. Of course, they had a goal disallowed in the first half, quite rightly. So, had a couple of opportunities in the second half. I think the second half, in terms of chances, was probably more even. But again, I haven't seen the stats, but I would suggest Newcastle United had the majority of the play in that game. Look, it's a type of away performance that we're not really used to from Newcastle United. Could you say it's 2 points dropped? I would suggest it probably is. But if you'd offered me that before the game, I probably would have snapped your hands off, because I don't always feel Everton's the happiest of hunting grounds over the years. Newcastle United, of course, had quite a famous 4-1 Alexander Isak inspired win down there only in recent years. But apart from that, there hasn't been a whole lot of success. So I'll keep that short and sweet. That's my thoughts. Probably is 2 points dropped, but in the grand scheme of things, I probably would have taken a point if you'd offered me it before a ball was kicked. So I can't sit here and be too disappointed. But anyway, there's some cocktails and a party and some nice food waiting for me as I'm away on Newcastle World and Shields Gazette duty, National World duty actually, reviewing this quite amazing hotel here, about 2 hours away from Athens on the Aegean Sea. Beautiful. So I'm going to get myself away, enjoy my last night here, and back to the UK, and then back to normal next week with the 3 Geordie journals. I know some people quite like the 2 because those guys are pretty good, but I'll be back in action next week. Back over to you guys at Goodison.
So yeah, that's what Liam Kennedy thought. You'll know what he thought. We still haven't seen it.
We haven't watched the video yet. So.
Good thoughts from Liam. That
Hopefully he's echoed what we've said, but
I thought Liam made some good points.
Yeah, he did. It's the best he's ever spoken.
Concise. I thought 3 minutes.
Yeah. Is it 3 minutes?
That's all I know.
Oh, okay.
I've sent a 3-minute video.
Oh.
So yeah, that shows up. We just wing these videos. Sometimes.
People know that by now when you watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all, a disappointing final visit to Goodison Park in the Premier League at least.
As I say, I keep using the word, but it's really frustrating. It's a frustrating visit where the last year was pit the film anyways when they got turned over 3-0. 3-0, very Geordie that.
But that was a game where it was like they weren't in control of it, but it was a very close game, and then it just disaster for 15 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah. Today they just never looked like losing, but just a bit toothless in the final third.
Hopefully that'll come.
Gonna have Isak and Wilson back. Yeah. Although Eddie Howe said no guarantees after the international break, but you'd expect they wouldn't be too far away.
All right. Well, he said yesterday that they were scheduled in for the first game after the break. So
let's hope.
Yeah, I hope so, because
they need them.
That's what I mean. Like you talk about being toothless in the final third. They didn't have a senior striker on the pitch. You've got Willisula, which it's quite clear Eddie Howe doesn't think he's Premier League ready. Based on the evidence of the Carabao Cup game, as much as I was encouraged by his performance, has still got a lot of room to develop before he's Premier League ready. So Anthony Gordon led the line, did all right. Unfortunately, frustrating again. Had a disappointing evening by missing his penalty and another chance. But I see in the main, for the 6 players and 6 players, defence, midfield, brilliant. Attack had to be more.
Yeah.
Decisive.
Yeah, I thought Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon
Harvey
all
Barnes,
struggled to make any sort of penetrating impact in the game.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's it.
Yep.
International break now.
I know, I'm sick.
You were complaining. That was on the drive down. Second international break already.
It's ridiculous.
We're only 7 games in.
7 games into a Premier League season. It's a second international break for. And sorry if anyone disagrees with this and cares about Nation League fixtures, but I don't. Nation League fixtures are glorified friendlies. They're crap. But here we are.
You're not looking forward to the Newcastle goalkeeper dog?
It is, Nick Pope will be on the bench. Black Dem also play, won't he?
Aye, probably.
The only one I was really looking forward to was Slovakia versus Sweden. Dubravka versus Isak. Not going to be there.
Millcraft will be there.
If he plays 2 games for Sweden, he makes his 100th appearance on Millcraft.
That's brilliant, that.
So I'll be watching Emil Kraft if he makes his 100th appearance.
Will you be watching it? Nations League?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I've ever watched the Nations League game.
You're not watching England?
No. I watched them get beat 4-0 off Hungary.
Yes, I remember that. I watched that in a pub.
And I watched the semi-final when we got beat off Holland, like the first Nations League.
I thought you were going to say the... sorry, I'm thinking about the... Do you watch the Euros? Watch the Euros?
Obviously, yeah.
I'm the same. I've openly admit I'm a plastic England fan who only comes out for tournaments and has a critical eye of Gareth Southgate during the tournament.
But people aren't watching our videos to talk about England.
No.
They're probably as bored as we are watching England.
It's just a little rant from me. The international Nations League breaks can get in the bin.
Yes. That's our final thought from Goodison Park. In the bin, this ground.
It's actually, I think this is quite the... I'm trying to think of the word. It's a moment where this is the last time we're going to visit and we're stood in the dark.
Actually, we joked. Last time we're going to visit, 3rd round FA Cup.
I know. Probably will.
There's still that chance, but yeah, we'll say goodbye to Goodison Park. Won't be missed.
Not in terms of results. No.
Eddie Howe, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one, because Eddie Howe was like, will you miss Goodison Park?
Probably not.
And he went, probably not.
But he said it was about the results more than the...
He doesn't have particularly
and I would agree with that. I think the press box, which you'll have seen the video, it's too tight for me. It's too tight for you with your long legs. So that the press box can leave. I'm happy with that.
In the bin.
But I would say, in terms of atmospheres, this is one of the best atmospheres in the Premier League.
Pre-match songs or like
yeah,
something else. I think it's good.
It's a proper historic ground with a great atmosphere. So it'll be missed in that sense. But in terms of Newcastle United playing here and not playing well, and the press box,
and Everton fans barging the way into the press box to look at highlights and then complaining about how they've been wrongly done by the corrupt Premier League. Won't miss that at all. So to sum up, frustrating day for Newcastle United, frustrating evening for Newcastle United, good performance on the whole, but let us know what you thought in the comments. You may disagree, you may think we're talking absolute rubbish. We don't mind. Let us know in the comments and then we'll reply. But yeah, in the meantime, if you like what we do, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell for all your Geordie Journos content. Of course, remember, we may have mentioned we've been nominated at the Football Content Awards for Club Content Producer of the Year in the Premier League. So link to vote for us there if you haven't already, or even if you have, will be in the description. And of course, T's and C's are lovely sponsors, Jordan.
4 Rivers Financial Planning. Check it out in the bio. Great sponsors.
Yes.
So please do check them out.
And anyone else interested in sponsoring Geordie Journos, we're award nominated. We need that award nominated boost to get us down to London for the awards evening. So if anyone's interested in sponsoring our award run over the next couple of months, please get in touch. But yeah, now it's the international break, so we'll be thinking of content ideas over the next 2 weeks.
We'll try and get the guy.
Let us know if you want us to do anything in particular. We'll consider all suggestions, all sensible suggestions. Hopefully we'll be joined by Liam Kennedy at some point when he gets back from his holidays.
Yep. And
yeah, so we'll see you in the next video. When that will be, we'll wait and see. But in the meantime, we'll be on Shots TV as usual in our usual 10:30 p.m. Monday evening slot, where we'll be talking about probably a little bit of this game, Newcastle's first 7 games of the season, just a bit more of a general video. So be sure to check that out. That'll be going out on Preview Channel 262 on Monday evening, as well as online. So if you follow us on social media, follow Shields Gazette, Newcastle World, all the links to that will be there. So we'll see you there. Goodbye from Goodison Park.